Pakistan has granted consular access to Kulbhushan Jadhav. In a press release issued late night on Thursday, Islamabad, Jadhav has been informed of his rights under Article 36 of the Vienna Convention. This comes in a day after the International Court of Justice put out a verdict asking Pakistan to provide Jadhav with consular access. The ICJ also stayed Pakistan from executing Jadhav with a 15:1 vote. Former Pakistan Prime Minister has been arrested over alleged irregularities related to the import of natural gas from Qatar. Shahid Khan Abbasi served as Pakistan's Prime Minister for nearly a year after Nawaz Sharif was removed from office. Sharif was removed for failing to disclose his foreign assets. Sharif is now serving a 7-year jail term for corruption. Authorities are investigating Abbasi's role in awarding a contract to a liquefied natural gas company in which he was a shareholder. However, Abbasi has denied any wrongdoing. The US Navy has shot down an Iranian drone in the Strait of Hormuz. Speaking at the White House, Trump said that the USS Boxer amphibious assault ship took defense action after the drone came within about 1,000 yards of vessel. Meanwhile, Iran's Foreign Minister Javad Zarif has said that he had no information about losing a drone. Iran's Revolutionary Guards have said that they detained a foreign tanker and its crew for allegedly smuggling fuel in the Gulf. The tanker was seized in the strategic Strait of Hormuz. There has been an ongoing tension in the Gulf over seizure of oil tankers. This is the third tanker that has been seized. Tanker trackers reported that the Panamanian flagged tanker used in the Strait of Hormuz for fueling other vessels had crossed into Iranian waters. U.S. Senate Armed Services Committee has approved Mark Esper's nomination for the post of President Donald Trump's second Secretary of Defense. The U.S. Senate is now due to vote next week to confirm Esper for the post. This would end as the longest period that the Pentagon has been without a permanent top official. The post has been vacant since Jim Mattis resigned in December over policy differences with Trump. 55-year-old Esper is expected to have an easy victory, having the support of many Democrats along with Trump's fellow Republicans. U.S. Vice President Mike Pence promoted America's commitment to religious freedom at a time the administration has criticized the faith of at least one U.S. lawmaker. Pence said that the first settlers in America carved protections for religious liberty into the nation's founding charters. An evangelical Christian himself, Pence was speaking at an international religious freedom conference hosted by Secretary of State Mike Pompeo on Thursday. President Donald Trump's Homeland Security chief was grilled during a congressional hearing into the Trump administration's former zero-tolerance policy that created scores of family separations at the U.S. southern border. The panel was looking into reports revealing unaccompanied children separated from their families that are being held in overcrowded, filthy conditions. The migrants in the detention centers were being subjected to severe psychological abuse and told to drink out of toilets. The hearing was scheduled a day after Representative Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez visited the main border facility in El Paso with other members of the House and called out this inhumane treatment. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has called out to China's treatment of its Uyghur Muslim minority the stain of the century. Now, Pompeo accused Beijing of pressurizing countries into not attending a U.S.-hosted conference on religious freedom. Pompeo said that China was home to one of the worst human rights crises of our time, and it is truly the stain of the century. Speaking at the final day of the international conference in Washington, Pompeo said that Chinese government officials had sought to discourage countries from attending the 3-day event he has hosted, attended by 106 countries. Documents released by a judge's order on Thursday contain details of confidential communication between U.S. President Donald Trump, his lawyer Michael Cohen, and the campaign team before 2016 elections. It revealed that a secret payment was made to an adult film actress who claimed of having a sexual encounter with the president. U.S. District Judge on Wednesday had ordered that the material used by prosecutors to obtain a 2018 search warrant for Cohen's home and office be unsealed. Cohen pleaded guilty in August 2018 to violating campaign finance law by directing huge amounts to adult actress Stormy Daniels and to Playboy model Karen McDougal. Trump has denied all encounters. A United States court has sentenced a man to life imprisonment for kidnapping and murdering a Chinese student. The verdict has been criticized by the Chinese student's family, who demanded a death sentence. Rong Gao-junk appealed to the killer Brent Christensen to reveal the body of her daughter so that her remains could be taken back to China. Christensen was given life imprisonment without parole after the jury failed to agree on a death penalty. Sudanese demonstrators on Thursday paid tribute to those fallen during the protests. The demonstrators rolled out a banner carrying the words "Justice First," loyalty to the revolution's martyrs. Thousands of demonstrators, mostly comprising teenagers, joined in the rally at the Freedom Square. The protests came as the Military Council and an alliance of protest and opposition groups worked to finalize a power-sharing deal for a 3-year transition towards elections. The protests in Puerto Rico have been gaining in strength. Protesters took to the streets of Old San Juan on Thursday as shop owners took plywood down from store windows and painted over a graffiti demanding Governor Ricardo Rossello's resignation. Behind the governor's mansion, a small group laid out shoes of those who had died in the devastating Hurricane Maria. Shoes have become a part of an effort to forge a sustainable protest movement to turn Rossello out of office. Protests erupted after Rossello's chats carrying sexist remarks were leaked. Rossello has issued an apology but refuses to resign. Argentina designated the Lebanese Islamist group Hezbollah as a terrorist organization on Thursday. The group's assets in the country have also been frozen. Argentina blames the group for carrying out 2 terror attacks on its soil. The announcement came as Argentina marks the 25th anniversary of the Jewish Community Center bombings. Argentina blames Iran and Hezbollah for the attacks. It also blames Hezbollah for the 1992 attack on the Israeli embassy in Buenos Aires. Soldiers were deployed in the South African capital of Cape Town on Thursday. This was in a bid to help quell the escalating gang violence in the city. Hundreds have been killed since January in the gang-ridden city, which has often been likened to a war zone. The South African National Defence Force deployed the battalion with support elements as part of the Operation Prosper. Cape Town has the highest murder rates in South Africa, with over 3,000 murders recorded last year. Haitian National Police destroyed dozens of arms during a ceremony on Thursday. This was together with the United Nations Mission for the Support of Justice in Haiti. 1,241 weapons were destroyed in an effort to combat circulation of illegal firearms in the country. Despite a 15-year UN peacekeeping operation in Haiti, armed gangs' operations have been on the rise, threatening the country's stability. Health Minister of the Democratic Republic of Congo has warned against religious practices to cure Ebola. In a press conference held in Goma, Oli Lunga asked pastors and religious leaders to behave responsibly. This comes after the World Health Organization declared the Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo as an international health emergency. The decision came after the virus spread to the city of Goma, which is home to more than 1 million people. More than 2,000 people have been affected by the outbreak and more than 1,600 people have lost their lives. 12 people were killed and more than 80 injured when Taliban fighters detonated 2 car bombs outside police headquarters in the Afghan city of Kandahar. After the blasts, militant and security forces engaged in firing. The attackers targeted the police forces' counter-narcotics wing. Kandahar was the former seat of the Taliban when they ruled Afghanistan from 1996 until they were ousted by a US-led coalition in 2001. The militants have fought on, and while US officials and Taliban militants have been discussing a peace deal since late last year to end the war, the violence has not stopped. 15 people have lost their lives in southeast Turkey after a minibus carrying migrants overturned. 52 people have been injured in the incident. Reports suggest that the victims are believed to be from Afghanistan, Pakistan and Bangladesh. Police and ambulance services rushed to the accident site in Van province near the Iranian border. In May this year, 70 migrants who were trying to reach Europe from Libya were killed as their boat capsized in the Mediterranean. Until May this year, 17,000 migrants and refugees had entered Europe via the sea. Residents in the Kansas City area are finding ways to beat the heat as the temperature hovers around 100 degrees. Adjusting their schedules, garbage collectors in the city begin their work an hour earlier at 6 a.m. to avoid becoming overheated. This is the only way to cope with severe heat, they say. Heavy snow blanketed Bolivia on Thursday, with authorities issuing alerts as the snowfall lasted for 2 days. In El Alto, streets, parks and squares were covered in snow. Various international flights were cancelled at dawn at El Alto International Airport, and roads in certain areas had to be closed due to the accumulation of ice and snow in the high areas. A vehicle pile-up was also reported on the highway linking La Paz and El Alto. Bolivia's weather agency said more rain can be expected. The floods in Bangladesh worsened on Thursday as people continue to suffer from shortages of food and drinking water. In the Gaibandha district, fresh areas were flooded following a collapse of an embankment dam near the town. The gushing water breached the city's embankments in 20 places. The Brahmaputra River was flowing 150 centimeters above the danger level, while the Gagod River rose 94 centimeters above the danger mark. More than 4 lakh people still remain waterlogged, and at least 361 schools across the Gaibandha district have been shut down. At least 19 people lost their lives as flood wreaks havoc in the Indian state of Assam. The flood situation in the region has affected over 4.5 million people during this monsoon season. People on the ground say that their homes are filled with waist-deep water. It is getting difficult for people to even cook and feed their families. The State Disaster Management Authority has said that more than 85,000 people have been given shelter in 187 relief camps run by the state government. Animals at the Kaziranga National Park are also suffering majorly, so much so that a tiger escaped the sanctuary and was spotted sitting inside a house near the national highway. "78 people have lost their lives as flood and landslides continue to wreak havoc in Nepal. National Emergency Operations Centre has said that more than 40,000 soldiers and police officials are engaged in providing food, tents and medicine to thousands of people who have been affected by floods. Search operations are on to trace those who have gone missing. Some people have taken shelter under plastic sheets and temporary tarpaulin huts. 3 Indian rivers have been overflowing and submerging parts of western Bihar, where at least 24 people have lost their lives. Commemorating the Nelson Mandela International Day, millions of South Africans distributed food to early childhood development centres on Thursday. This was part of a drive to end starvation in South Africa, where close to 6 million children reportedly live below the poverty line. Volunteers from an international hunger relief organisation packed and distributed food to childcare centres in honour of former President Nelson Mandela. Four of London's bridges were lit up on Wednesday night as part of a new art installation called Illuminated River. London Bridge, Cannon Street, Railway Bridge, the Millennium Bridge and Southwark Bridge were all lit up with colourful lights. American artist Leo Villarreal, who created the Bay Lights in San Francisco, helped design this project. The aim is to light up 15 bridges that cross the River Thames in central London. All eyes are on the San Diego Comic-Con 2019, a melting pot of comics, pop culture and entertainment. Fans gathered in San Diego for the 50th anniversary of Comic-Con. They were all dressed in costumes of their favorite superheroes, also hoping to meet the actors who played them on screen. The event, which began yesterday, is to continue for 3 more days.
Hey!
We're going to see what relates to